everybody was so mean to Laurie.
Yeah.
And I didn't...
Well, it's been 40 years.
She's got post-traumatic she's got PTSD, and everybody's just like, for God's sake, Mom. You said you would stop having PTSD. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Can't Believe You Haven't Seen. I am Daniel.
And I am Daniel.
And on this podcast, two friends, being us, take it in turns every week to recommend to the other person something that they've never seen before. We're carrying on with some spooky content this week, it being Halloween tomorrow and all.
Yes.
So, Daniel, this week, I can't believe you haven't seen Halloween from 2018 specifically.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. Now I have.
That is our classic catchphrase on this podcast. Jumping right into it.
Let's do it.
You've made it quite clear to me that you were not looking forward to watching this.
Yeah, I've heard bad things. Before going into it, all I'd heard were bad things. So, yeah, I was hesitant to watch it.
Now that you have, I'd love to hear your opinion.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
No?
No, I'm surprised that you are.
Really?
Yeah. So I would like to hear what you enjoy about the film. But yeah, I didn't really find much to enjoy about it.
Okay, well...
I hated it, you could say.
Oh, okay. That surprises me. I think there's enough in this film to, warrant merit in the way it's made, but
I'd love to hear about that.
Okay, well.
Can I just say, before we get into the film,
of course,
doesn't the Blumhouse logo just look shit?
You hate that thing, don't you? I do get kind of sick of seeing it, but because especially since every horror film that you see these days is it's Blumhouse.
Yeah, it's just like a bad video game animation, in my opinion.
Why don't we just start at the beginning? So I think the opening scene before the credits is alright.
In the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sets up the
film
nicely.
There's some intrigue there.
Yeah.
The prison was very clean looking. It was a nice prison. I was going to pick prison.
Well, I did like the production design, especially when they go out into that courtyard bit with like the sort of red and white squares.
Yeah.
That looked pretty nice.
I like that. I don't know if that actually happens. That's a real thing.
It's a bit of a gamble, those two podcasters going out to see him.
Because he's not spoken in 40 years or whatever.
And also, I think they say a bit later when they go and see Laurie that we've come a long way, and they're both English, so I assume that they've come from the UK to talk to this guy that does not talk for their podcast. So that's quite strange. But
you got to try it though, because what if he did say something that would be big?
That would be
podcasting stuff.
And the guy whips out his mask.
How do you get that?
He said he got it from his friend at the Attorney General's office or something like that. But it's like, why would they allow him that piece of criminal evidence?
Didn't they say at one point that they basically they've given up, they don't really care anymore about his case? Because it's been so long, he doesn't say anything, so I guess the dude would have just been like, yeah, have his mask, why not?
But he pulls out the mask, and then all of the other inmates start freaking out, and there's that whole sort of build up and then it eventually cuts to the credits.
He's like, you feel it.
Yeah. So do you think there's a supernatural kind of element going on with Michael Myers?
No.
But
that seems just kind of weird, because that doesn't follow throughout the film, I don't think, really. There's no other supernatural elements to it.
No, I agree.
It's just a dude who goes around murdering. So it's a bit weird that he's like, you feel the mask.
It is a bit... Because obviously, it's a heightened reality, because Michael is just like this unstoppable... I mean, and like skipping forward to the end, obviously he gets it out of that fire.
Yeah. Like
he's not dead. So obviously, you kind of got to buy into this kind of heightened reality. But yeah, I don't think there's anything supernatural going on with him. So to sort of have...
They're setting up for the next film. There might be.
Well, who knows what they could do with it. I know that in some of the other poorer received Halloween films, that they do go down that route, that like somebody got a curse put on them at some point, or like...
Right.
So like they have dabbled with that in the past, but obviously this is a fresh start in terms of sequels. So
you haven't actually seen the original, have you?
I haven't, no.
So, but I have.
But I feel like it's just one of those films that I just never need to watch, because I feel
Yeah.
I've got the idea.
Yeah, but it's still like a good film, kind of. I mean, it's just about a dude that goes around murdering people, but there's this film, so.
I mean, we pretty much have that film to thank for the entire slasher genre, I think.
Yeah, so it's an important film in film history.
Maybe I'll watch it one day.
Yeah, maybe I'll make you.
Oh. So yeah, then we cut to the credits.
Yeah, cool credits.
Nice opening, nice homage to the first one.
Yeah.
I say homage, just doing that again.
Yeah.
So
that music always gives me chills.
Well, here's a good time to talk about the music. Obviously, the main theme is iconic. What do you think of the rest of the score?
Didn't notice it. I just noticed whenever they use the main theme. I was like, hell yeah, that's the main theme.
Oh. Well, I really like all the music.
I'm sorry.
God, every time, it's happened every single time now. Every time I've picked something, I'm like, I love the music in this film. And you're always like, well, didn't notice. So.
Well, yeah, I usually only listen to soundtracks from films I really like. And then I'll pick up on the music more. But, I mean, maybe next week I'll actively try and listen for any music. Or, 2 weeks' time, whatever.
Please do.
I will.
But it was done by, not sure if you noticed, it was done by John Carpenter.
I don't know who that is.
So John Carpenter...
I have a carpenter called John.
That's not the same thing.
Well.
John Carpenter directed the first Halloween.
All right.
And he does music as well. So
yeah,
he did the music for the original. He came back to do the music for this one with his son and someone else. His son, Cody Carpenter, and then another person called Daniel Davis, I think.
Nice trio.
But I really like the music in this film, and I'm sad that again you took no notice.
Well, I don't, so I can't pick out any specific moments or anything.
Not even the bit where it goes like doo 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 doo, and then it goes like broom.
No, not even that.
That's like one of the coolest bits.
But I don't think it was bad music. I think that it was fine. For sometimes maybe it built a little bit of suspense, but I didn't really feel like it was that suspenseful at the same time. It's not actively bad, but it's also not something I would go out of my way to listen to.
Okay, well, here's a question, and this is addressed a little bit when I forget Alison is the granddaughter's name.
Okay.
When she's walking to school with her two
Dave.
friends. Dave
Got a lot to say about Dave.
And Vicky, okay. And Dave does say, he starts going like, "Oh, why does your grandma care that 40 years ago, some guy tried to kill her, and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things today, it's not really a big deal." And he sort of starts going on that, and then everybody just says, "Shut up, Dave." But I do wanna, do you kind of buy? Well, actually, now that I'm getting ready to ask this, I kind of feel like it is addressed. I was going to say, is it really a big deal? Why do people care that some guy 40 years ago killed a few people?
Because he's a murderer, a mass murderer.
Which I'm not saying it's not.
And if someone tried to kill you 40 years ago, but you somehow escaped, I think you'd be pretty scared.
I'm not talking about why does Laurie care. I'll get onto that a bit later. She's fine. I've got no... I just mean... I think specifically when it comes to those two podcasters and his doctor as well, they're all like, oh, we need to know why he did it. We need to really delve into the psychology of him. And it's all he really did... I'm not trying to downplay the fact that murder is bad, but I just mean all he did was kill a few people. Why are they so hell-bent? There must be something... more horrific things have been done. And it's like...
Normally, though, if someone kills a few people, they would then have interviews and speak and stuff. But this guy doesn't say anything for 40 years. I feel like that's just a built intrigue in everyone. Why the hell is this guy not speaking? What has happened to him that has caused him to be like this? Because maybe most people would have remorse after 40 years, or they'd at least speak out about it. But he hasn't.
I guess it didn't exactly ring true to me. I don't think just why people were, especially
it'd be
the
big news in
doctor.
a small town as well, like that.
I guess
Defending this movie I don't like.
There's this whole idea that the film kind of really just only dips its toe in the water with, which is sort of the doctor Well, only really the Doctor, and again the podcasters a little bit. They're kind of saying like, "Oh, Michael, he's this human being, and we need to try and understand him." So they kind of start leaning into this idea of like, well, he's just human too, and then, but then they don't really go anywhere with it. And like, not that I would have wanted them to, because that's not really what I want out of my slasher film. But I just don't get why they would bring it up in the first place if they don't do anything. Like I kind of feel like the film is even saying kind of fuck you to itself, because they literally like just cave the Doctor's head in. Like he's talking to Michael and he's like, Michael, say something to me. And they're kind of trying to imply this kind of greater kind of, I don't know. And then they just bash his head in and it's like, well, that's what I think of that. And it's like, and then they just get on with it.
I feel again that's just setting up for a sequel. I feel like a lot of this film was like setting up for the next film.
Really?
Yeah. Because before you even mentioned that there was going to be another one, I was like, this feels too kind of dragged out. I was thinking, I don't know what the next one's going to be, but I was thinking like probably they could have combined it, 2 films into one.
You felt like it was dragged out?
Yeah.
I felt it was quite brisk. What else about it made you feel like it was sequel baiting?
I thought like it was all set on one night, or like the second half, maybe more than the second half, was all that one night.
Halloween,
yeah. I feel like it could have, either they should have like finished it. Like if they killed him at the end, that would have been fine, maybe. It was too slow.
Interesting.
For parts of it.
I found it quite self-contained, quite brisk.
Disagree. I mean, I'll see if I wrote any notes about that. No. I also found it quite predictable.
In what way?
Just like, it didn't really surprise me at any point. There were 2 points where I was like, oh, wow, it's a twist. But that was it. The rest I was just like, yeah, this kind of makes sense. This is, he's going to escape from prison and then he's going to kill a few people, go on a little bit of a rampage, and then track down her, and like, he won't kill her. I don't know if she'll kill him, or, But the 2 points where it did surprise me were when he strangled that kid.
Yeah.
Because I knew they were going to die, but I didn't think it would be on camera, because you don't kill kids in films like that normally. And then when the Doctor died, when the Doctor was like on his side or whatever at the end.
Oh yeah, when the Doctor had his little knife pen.
Yeah,
penknife.
Stabbed the policeman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I like that.
And then there's that really funny shot where he rises in front of the car with the mask on, and he looks really silly.
Yeah, I kind of hoped he would turn into the guy then, but it didn't happen.
No, well, you can't get rid of Michael Myers.
He can. He's like 40 something, older, 60. Also, how old is that daughter supposed to be? And like all the daughter.
The
I don't know
daughter.
her name.
Laurie's daughter.
Yeah.
The mom.
No. The mum's daughter.
The granddaughter.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're in high school, so probably like 17.
She didn't look 17.
Well, she's probably not 17.
I don't know. I normally don't pick up on that stuff, but they just all looked very old to me.
Well,
they're like 25 or something.
They always are. They probably are.
Especially Dave and Vicky.
All right. Well, speaking of Dave, you clearly have a problem with Dave.
It's just
or maybe you love Dave.
No.
Oh.
Bit of a dick, I just thought. Like, especially when he blows up that pumpkin.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Well, kids doing kid stuff.
He's 25. You should know better.
Well, I think, just quickly touching on the side characters, I think they were all quite, apart from Comedy Dad, who I did not like.
Fair.
I think that all the little side characters were kind of well realised, and you kind of got who they were in a short time. I thought they were all quite likeable, even though you didn't particularly like Dave. But
I think they weren't bad characters. Dave was a dick, but it doesn't make him like poorly written or anything.
No, well.
And Vicky, I liked her until she turned into a dick at the end.
Why did she turn into a dick?
Because she tried to scare that kid. She's like, "Oh, please, get out of the room."
That is one of my issues with this film. There's quite a few cheap scares.
Oh, so many.
which I
hate
don't
that.
think. I don't think this. I mean, I know it's horror, but I don't think when it comes to this kind of like slasher type film, I don't think it needs to be that scary.
No.
I think that these kind of films maybe need to give you a bit more of a thrill rather than like scare you. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can scare them well, then do it. But there's a lot of
If you took them out, I'd probably respect it a lot more. But they were just cheap jump scares, and then the annoying thing where it like cuts to a new scene on like a loud sound.
Yes, I hate that.
Yes, yeah.
So many horror films do it. It's just like new scene, but somebody's gonna be fucking chopping wood, and
Yeah.
it's like that's gonna scare you because
so unnecessary.
sound loud.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it did that quite a lot as well, which does let it down, I think.
Because I feel like other than that, like in parts of it, it felt like quite a well-made film.
Oh, I'm surprised you think that because I agree. But
It's well made. That doesn't make it good though.
maybe we do agree on the film, but
Mhm.
perhaps I give it more of the benefit of the doubt, if you will, than you do.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe also because I've seen the original, I'm just like, feel like a sequel was unnecessary. So
Tell that to the 50 other Halloween sequels. I had a thought when Laurie first pops up to talk to Alison, and like she gives her that money, and she starts going on about how you need to try and there's a whole bit with like you need to try and reconnect with your family, Laurie, and you need to stop letting this get to you and all that. And it's Halloween, so just calm down. And like, and do you think they have that conversation like every year? It seemed to be a random time to just be suddenly having it, but I feel like they must have it every Halloween, just like
probably for the past 40 years. You would think she'd be over it, but maybe because it's an anniversary as well, it's a bit more, She wouldn't have cared if it was the 37th year, maybe.
Yeah. But I do like how Laurie is portrayed in this film. I enjoy
Which one's Laurie? I'm terrible with names.
the
grandma.
The grandmother, yes.
Okay.
I like the fact that she's not just like an uber badass. I mean, obviously she's got all like the good shit. I mean, she's very capable, but like she's also obviously suffering greatly. She's having a little cry in the car.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't just lean into either like super hard. Like she wasn't just a mess, but she also wasn't just like, oh, I'm super cool, grandma, guns.
Yeah.
I like that there was that that those different sides to her.
Yeah.
Seemed like
I respect
a
that.
realistic portrayal of somebody that was horribly traumatized.
Well, realistic, that part, yes. I don't like a little basement that she has. I mean, that's like...
You didn't
right
think that
then
was
before.
realistic?
I feel like that was unrealistic. That was just kind of dumb.
What, just because of the countertop?
Because of everything about it. The hidden entrance, like tons of guns she had down there. The spikes that closed to close it off, and then the gas that came out and was set on fire.
I don't know. It seemed pretty reasonable to me.
I don't think so. And she did all that and didn't reinforce the room.
No, you had a problem with that.
I did. Because he can just shoot down if he had a gun.
But he doesn't use guns.
Well, she doesn't know that.
Yes,
No,
she does.
Well, still, reinforce it for peace of mind.
Maybe she ran out of materials.
Maybe. Also, she burnt down the entire house because he was in the basement.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure.
You haven't.
Yes, you do.
She has a
I
gun.
mean, it didn't work anyway.
He's in the basement. Shoot him.
No, just stare at him through the bars.
Yeah, that really annoyed me. Especially, he was on the ground and they were right next to him with weapons, and they just like, oh, run up the stairs.
I just feel like, and I'm not saying, because I'm one to nitpick films. I'm sure I've done it.
I mean, it's a nitpick.
I know I've done it with some of the stuff you've recommended to me in these recent weeks.
Yeah.
But when it's this kind of film, you just gotta like.
No.
You just gotta go with it, like, because why didn't they just shoot him in the head? Well, because then we'd have no film.
No, but
That's the point of
he's
the
lying
film.
on the ground. They are both standing next to him, or two people are standing next to him. The woman's like up above him, holding a rifle.
Mm.
Shoot him.
Well, she's not gonna
He's
shoot
on
when
the ground.
her
It's
daughter
the
and
end
her
of the
granddaughter
film.
are coming up past her, are they?
They're standing to the side.
I just think you
They
just
could have
gotta let it go.
Because they could have done something to get around that, like, the rifle. He breaks the rifle. There you go. Easy fix. And those guys are too much of a pussy to kill him, so fair enough. But
All
she's
right.
standing there with a rifle. I guess she didn't want all the stuff to go to waste. Like, we spent the last 40 years building this room. Make sure we've got to burn down the house. You know, put all the effort in.
I see what you're saying, but it didn't bother me.
Bothered me.
So,
just going way back.
yeah.
You know, in the gas station, when the gas, like the cashier dude was dead, he's got his jaw like
Yeah.
on the. That was pretty cool. But I wanted to know how he did that. How would that even happen?
Well, I don't know, just cause. I did like all the gore in this. It was pretty well
Yeah,
done.
I can respect that.
You know, there's that guy
Gets his head
when
crushed.
the bus crashed as well. Like his whole neck is just like.
Oh, yeah, that was like... I've not seen that in a film before. That was nice.
Yeah, and then you got the guy with the jaw. You got the head stamp. That was just
Yeah,
good.
bit too much strangling there, I feel.
Too much strangling.
Too much strangling. He strangles the woman in the toilets.
Yeah.
He strangles the kid. He strangles...
Well, he didn't. He broke the kid's neck.
through strangulation. He strangles him first, and then he strangles someone else. I can't remember.
I'm sorry
Mix
that
it
he's,
up a bit,
that he's
you know?
not creative enough for you. I think he's pretty
Break
creative.
the legs or whatever.
He really upped his body count in this film from
Yeah.
40 years ago to like
Necessary, I
an
felt.
entire town.
He didn't have to kill the kid, or like he didn't have to kill half the people he killed. He went in someone's house.
He doesn't have to kill anybody.
Took a
Daniel.
hammer. he has to get revenge. But like, why did he kill that woman in that house?
Because he's
The
a
mother.
serial killer.
Yeah, but he left that poor family without a mother. It's fucked up.
I don't think he cared.
Well,
I wonder what happened to all the other patients on that bus.
yeah, nobody really cared.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, Michael Myers is about, not like
Yeah.
all those other lunatics.
That would have been a good thing to go into. I feel like you know, at least show some other serial killings happening. Maybe in the second film.
Maybe, because I think it's taking place like directly afterwards.
Yeah.
So, it could.
Something else about the bus. I wrote down. What are the legalities behind running from a crashed prison bus? Are they supposed to literally just wait there for the police to get back?
Who are you referring to?
The prisoners.
The prisoners?
Yeah, are they supposed to just wait in the bus? Just like, yeah.
Well, they're
Does
all
this happen?
mentally unstable, so I don't even think they.
No, but legally.
From a legal point of view, they probably, yes, should wait.
Well, that's dumb.
I thought the podcasters were pretty pointless, just in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like they could have been there just for that first scene and then get rid of them.
they don't influence anything, really. They
No.
just talk to Michael for a bit, they talk to Laurie, but they don't do anything. They don't cause
They give
anything.
exposition.
I guess that's what they were for. But they don't cause anything to happen within the plot.
Mm.
So, and then they just get killed. So,
Well, could you say that they pissed Michael off? And so that's why he's like, oh, for God's sake, now I've got to do something.
I
He's
mean,
standing there like, ooh, look at the mess.
I suppose you could interpret it that way. I feel like either way, he probably would have. Well, he would have escaped anyway because the doctor set him free
Yeah,
during that transfer. So,
but maybe they inspired the doctor. I don't know.
I feel like he was probably planning that for a while.
Yeah. No, they were just there for exposition. They could have got just not been in the rest of the film. I feel like, other than that first scene, and that would have been fine.
What do you think of sort of how much we saw? I know we never got like a proper good look at him, but how much we saw of Michael without the mask? Do you think it's?
We didn't.
Well, he's got funny eyelids.
Well, we saw him for like half a second, didn't we?
You get a good look at one point.
I didn't remember seeing that.
Oh, well, I was going to ask you, do you think some of the mystery is kind of ruined when he's just a guy with funny eyelids? But I guess if you didn't notice, then.
Well, maybe we're talking about the same shot, but I thought that he had just like funny eyeball.
It could be his eyeball, but I thought it was his eyelid.
Well, I wanted to see his face more,
You wanted to.
but that was me I feel like they shouldn't have shown his face more. I feel like the amount of face showing is fine.
Right. Okay.
The glimpse of the face, his face that you got, I feel like that's enough to just whet your appetite a little bit.
Mm.
And just be like, ooh. And then maybe, sequel, they'll show more.
Maybe.
I wrote down here, change the mask.
Change the mask.
Change the mask.
It's iconic.
But yeah, looking back now, Why would you change the mask? That'd be dumb.
Oh, okay.
So
you
that's all I have
disagree
to
with
say.
yourself?
Yes.
He should have killed that baby.
Nah, I'm quite glad he didn't.
I mean, I'm not advocating infant murder, but I feel like because he killed that kid, that teenager, whatever he was, in a very raspy voice. So we've already established that he's not beyond killing children, not above killing children. Sorry. But I just feel like if you show him, either have him kill the baby or don't show the baby at all, is my feelings. I just feel like having him walk past the baby, you have a moment of like, oh, well, he wouldn't kill a baby. But it's like, it doesn't add anything, because he's still a raging lunatic that just murders everyone. So, like, it feels for like a moment that it's adding this bit of depth, but really it's not adding anything. It's just like, well, why didn't he kill that baby?
I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
I feel like that was one of the only points in the film where I really felt something. Because when he was walking, when I heard the baby and he was like walking, I was like, you better not kill that baby. If you kill that baby, I'm going to be pissed off. And like, I was like annoyed, really enraged for a second, but then he walked past and I was like, thank God, maybe this guy isn't as bad as we thought. I feel like it does add a little bit of depth, because it's like, he's pretty bad, but he's not that bad.
It's just so,
maybe there's redemption for him.
It's just so surface level. It doesn't.
Sequel.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I feel like a lot of it is just.
How on earth would that play into a sequel?
Maybe he does get a redemption in the sequel.
Why would he get redemption? He's a murdering lunatic.
What, he didn't kill the baby, so maybe they can turn him around. Maybe they can be like, think about everyone as if they're a baby.
I feel like you're getting too hung up on these sequels. You're getting too hung up on these sequels.
No, it doesn't. It wasn't needed anyway.
No,
so.
No films need to exist.
Fair play.
But then we wouldn't have a podcast.
True. This podcast doesn't need to exist.
Oh.
I put here. Sorry.
No.
Just going back to Dave being a dick.
Mm-hmm.
He did something with a motorbike.
Oh yeah, he just started revving up somebody else's motorbike.
Oh yeah,
didn't he? That he did not own.
Waking up the neighbourhood.
Yeah.
It's just a dick move.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Because he's a dick. A teenager.
There you go.
Teenagers suck, man.
Kill Dave.
He did.
He did, yeah. Good.
Like, nailed him to the wall. Well,
Good.
knifed him to the wall.
Good. Alright, well, that's fine then.
In terms of the filmmaking, I think this is sort of the main reason why, because I don't think it's like an outstanding film or anything, I find it just, it's just entertaining, sort of a brisk, just under 2 hours, it's just a bit of fun. But, I think there's enough in the filmmaking, there's enough care into like the way it looks, and like the music, like things like that just raise it to another level a bit, and I'm thinking of those there's a few like long takes, like especially when Michael's just going around killing people, that are quite impressive, quite nice, and it's it's just a nice film to look at. It's it's not I just think there's enough care and enough there's enough care into the technical aspects of it, that obviously they were putting in effort. It's not just a cash grab, even though it is, but there's enough. The people behind the camera obviously cared about what they were doing, and they wanted to do a good job.
But does that improve the film? Well, okay, it
Yes.
does. It does improve the film, but does that matter if the story is not good?
But I thought the story was fine anyway, so.
Okay, I disagree. I didn't feel like I really cared about any of it. Because, the woman, I was just like, I don't care if you die. I don't care if Michael gets to you. It's like, and it just seemed a bit obvious. Again, going back to it being predictable. He gets out of prison, goes to try and kill her, doesn't kill her. I thought she was going to kill him, but she didn't manage. That's crazy. I feel like the technical aspects of it, whilst very good, they didn't make up for the poor, just direction of the film.
I don't feel like it really needs to be surprising in any way. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just.
It'd be nice if they were, though. Because imagine if it was a good narrative,
Well, how would you have improved it?
I'd do it different. Like,
I'm asking how.
I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker, as we know, but I'd just do a different story.
Ah.
I either wouldn't make this film, or I'd make like he breaks out of jail and you think it's going to be all about him trying to chase her down, but immediately he gets her, and then it's like he goes on this journey of self-discovery. And then his redemption arc comes in, and he feels bad for everything he's done.
All right, I'm glad that we've got that on the record. That
No, I would.
Daniel thinks serial killers are fully redeemable.
Summer.
Okay. One thing for me that does let it down, it is in the writing department. I'm not talking necessarily about the story, just because I don't want you to think that I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, carry on.
I mean, the film doesn't need to be. It didn't need to be as funny as it thinks it is. I mean, I didn't think it was funny anyway, but like in the writing, there's there's that whole scene like dedicated to those two police officers in their car talking about their lunch. And it's like, why is this here?
Why was that there? What was
exactly?
that?
It's like, and I guess it's just like having a few moments to like flesh out some characters that are about to die. But like, even then, you could have done it differently. There didn't need to be as many like jokes, because it undercut some of the tension as well. Like when that kid that Vicky was babysitting, like he was kind of being funny even when Michael was chasing him. He was like,
oh yeah,
and things like that just didn't. It didn't need to be that way, and it undercut some of the tension, and it just also kind of didn't work for me either. I didn't think it was that funny, but obviously that's subjective.
I didn't pick that out specifically, but definitely with the kid, that was kind of like a bit dumb. Kind of killed any tension that there might have been. Not that there was loads anyway, but yeah, I didn't feel like it was overly tried to be too funny. Can you give more examples, or
no?
Okay. Yeah, I guess the sandwich thing was kind of weird. They could have been talking about police stuff, like, ooh, I hope that killer doesn't get us, or something like that. That would have been better. That's what I would have changed. Oh man, speaking of funny, I've just seen when I don't know his name, tries to kiss, I don't know her name.
Oh, yeah, I don't know his name either, but Alison.
Yeah, when he tries to kiss her, and then, yeah, actually, and then when he's speaking to Michael, that's like funny.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be funny. But I felt like that worked.
To be fair, I think that bit was alright.
But the kiss was cringe. I was like, you fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Guy. Felt bad for him.
Why did she leave her phone in that, whatever that was, that bowl of liquid?
Goo. Yeah. It would have been fine.
Like, just, you would still get it out. That's, even if you thought it was definitely broken beyond repair, you wouldn't just leave it in there. You would get it out.
Someone else can find this when they're trying to get some goo.
Like somebody goes in with a spoon and trying to fill their bowl. It's just like a phone.
Yeah, but she needed to not have her phone somehow, so...
Yeah, that was pretty...
Just make it run out battery.
But then again, it didn't even contribute to anything in the end.
Yeah, because they were trying to phone her.
But, like, it only ended up resulting in, like, one more scene. Well, actually, she goes with the...
She's running for ages. If she could just get a phone out and be like, oh yeah, I'm here, that would have been fine.
Yeah, no, never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah. They could have just said, run out battery or no signal or something dumb like that.
And I feel like ultimately, in the end, the Doctor was also kind of pointless as a character.
I don't really remember him too much. I feel like he was quite forgettable.
Well, yeah, he was kind of generic, but also he had this brief moment of, oh, I'm actually a villain.
Yeah.
And then he just gets his head caved in.
That was cool, but I didn't think it should have happened.
And I know that he's the one that, or at least I think he's the one that caused the accident, the bus to crash, so that Michael could be set free.
I guess so.
I'm pretty sure that's how it was. Yeah, because like he wanted to see Michael like out in the wild, like doing running free.
Here we have a wild Michael Myers.
But I feel like if you'd have just had it so that Michael would have just been able to overpower the guards on the bus and like cause the accident himself, like through brute force, which I'm sure he would have been able to do.
Maybe he did.
It wouldn't have changed anything. So like if the doctor wasn't there, the film is the same.
Literally, yeah. I agree.
Like, you could have still had...
But you wouldn't have had the classic moment of, I'm a doctor, get in your houses.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was funny.
I'm glad he got his head caved in, though.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Yeah. So satisfying. The way it,
Go on.
got squashed.
Looked a bit like a pumpkin.
Maybe they used a pumpkin.
What did you think of that moment where... I feel like Michael is inconsistently, like, theatrical in the way he kills. Like, sometimes he'll just stab people, and that'll be it. And then other times he'll prop someone up in a chair and put a sheet over them and make them a ghost.
I literally wrote the same thing.
Other times he'll decapitate someone, empty out their head, and stick a flashlight in the neck to make it a jack-o'-lantern. That takes time.
I it felt like a budget Saw when they did that sort of thing. It's just like they're trying to be quirky with it, but they didn't fully go for it, and he didn't fully go for it. So they should just not gone for it at all. I feel like he would get off more on if she was just like stapled to the wall. Because it's like, wow, that's gruesome. I think he likes gruesomeness.
I feel like, I mean, obviously he's not exactly, he's not the most in-depth character in the world.
He's really not.
But
not at all.
Even then, from the little that we sort of get, from just the way he is, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy to me that would take the time to make somebody's head into a jack-o'-lantern, and he seems much more just like, because he's so robotic and like just in the way he does stuff.
Yeah.
He seems much more like the kind of guy that would just stab someone and leave.
Yeah. It's wasting time, isn't it? Setting her up to be a ghost sitting in a chair.
So what did you think of the whole climax in the house?
Well, I think I've already stated my opinions on that.
But I mean, like, even before they go down into the basement.
Like,
there's the whole bit where she's like locking down the rooms and...
So, I put here, go down the fucking hole with the rest of them. She should have just gone down the hole. Because then, you've only got one entrance in. He's only got one way to go in, and it's this narrow, like, passageway. She just sits there with a gun. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, but that's boring.
And?
You want a boring film?
Yeah. Think tactically. She's been planning this for 40 years, and yet she's, like, dumb. And why isn't there, she could have had a trap in the door or something? I don't know. That's not, nah. But I felt like she was very...
Laurie,
yeah. There's so much happened to her that would have killed anybody else in the film. But because,
like what?
Well, I put here, I don't know what this means, head banged through door. Anyone else in this film would have died. I just feel like there was lots of things that would have killed other people, but because she's Laurie, it's like, especially her, was that her that fell off the roof? Yeah, that would have killed anyone
wasn't
else.
a very big drop, though.
I felt like it was.
No.
She fell onto that thing, and then fell off of that thing onto the ground.
Yeah.
From the second floor.
And then she disappeared.
Yeah, spooky. But I don't know. I felt like she had very thick plot armor.
Well, she's the main character.
I know, but dumb. And I put also here, don't really care.
Oh, okay.
Through that entire bit, I was just like, one of them can die, please. Just end it.
Oh well. I quite liked the whole kind of bit at the end. Like, I liked the way she was locking down all those rooms. I like how she was stalking him, as opposed to the other way around.
No.
Yeah, nice juxtaposition.
Sure, but I still felt like he was in control of that situation.
Well, he wasn't.
Felt like he wanted to be,
because he got trapped in the end.
Well, but he still escaped somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow, literally how. If there was another exit, surely she would have trapped it like she did the rest. And also, when she was safe in the hole again, she went back up. She was down there with all of them. I put here, why are you going up, you dumbo? So dumb.
Well, to be fair, the whole idea was to get him into the basement.
Yeah, but only
so
she could
if they all stayed down there, he would obviously try and follow them down. But that puts them in a lot of danger, being trapped down there with him. They might not get out. So if she's up there, at least then she can kind of kick him down, like I think she does.
But so he's walking up the stairs, right?
When's this?
At the end of just before she closes the spike traps to close off the
Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah. So
he's walking up the stairs,
Yeah.
coming towards them, and she decides to do the spike trap before he is like in between. Like she could have done that when he was in the doorway, you know, and then she could have just.
I just don't think in that if you're in that scenario, you're not waiting for anything.
You are.
You're doing it. It's like
Fuck that.
And I'm sure
He's
she
got
probably
3
thought,
people there. What's he gonna do?
kill them. He has demonstrated many times throughout the film that he is quite capable of killing all 3 of them.
I know, but if she just waited 5 more seconds, the film would have ended. There wouldn't have been a sequel.
He could have
He'd be
caught
dead.
them. He could have done anything. He's Michael Myers.
Done.
He survived the fire, which she thought was going to kill him anyway, so I don't blame her for not waiting, because she's like, well, I could have impaled him on these spikes, but actually I'm going to burn him alive.
Burnt her entire house down.
Well, you got to make sure.
No, you haven't. Well, yes, you have, but not through burning your house down. She's worked her whole life for that.
Yeah, and
And
it
now
paid
she
off.
burns it down.
As far as she is what thinks.
It hasn't paid off.
No, I know, but she thinks it has. She thinks,
But
yep,
even
done it.
even if it paid off, even if it killed him and he was dead in that fire, she has no house. She's burnt down her
Okay,
entire
well,
life.
she can get a new house.
No, she can't. She can't afford it. Not anymore. It wasn't an accident.
I
She
think you're getting
burnt
too
that
hung
house
up
down.
on the fact that she burnt her whole house down.
Yeah, but it's so it's just she wouldn't. Why would you do that? If it was an accidental fire, she could claim insurance, but she can't claim insurance because she did it on
I
purpose.
don't think she cares.
Well, she's done.
These are the wrong
Shoot him in the
things
head.
that you've
He's standing there. Shoot him in the head.
You've taken all the wrong things away from this film.
So that end bit dragged. I put not tense. Wasn't tense. They're all stupid. I feel like they were holding a knife next to him and he was on the ground and they didn't do anything.
Well, I'm glad you had such a good time.
You want to hear my last 3 notes?
Go on.
Burning the entire house, not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Stand by that. He's not dead. Stand by that. My last note, bullshit.
God.
I just,
What a bundle of joy you are.
for me, that sums up the entire film.
This is going back quite a lot now, because I guess we're done after this since we're at the end. But everybody was so mean to Laurie,
Yeah.
and I didn't...
Well, it's been 40 years.
She's got post-traumatic stress. Like, she's got PTSD, like, and
Yeah.
everybody's just like, for God's sake, Mom. You said you would stop having PTSD.
Yeah, well, she needs professional help.
Well, yeah, I guess. Gotta help.
Why didn't she stay with the police either? I know she set up this whole, like, oh, I'm going to burn down my house, but she would have been safe with the police.
Well, she kind of... She also did have this personal vendetta. So I think she did want to take him down herself.
Well, she didn't manage it, so good job.
Right, but she gave it a fair crack, though.
Just shoot him in the face.
Final thoughts? What would you give it?
Bullshit.
What would you give it out of 42 or whatever? Our famous. We use it once every other episode. Lost rating system.
Wow, I forgot the last numbers. 8, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. Out of that
Sure.
scale, I would give it 15.
Cool.
About 3 out of 6, essentially.
That's pretty good.
Nah,
It's pretty average.
okay. 8 then.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 out of 6, yeah. So that would be 4 out of 12. 8 out of 24. I would never watch it again.
All right.
It was fun to watch with you because we didn't mention this.
We
But
did-
we
we
watched
did
it together
watch
without
it together.
discussing. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I wouldn't make a podcast on it or anything.
All right. Well, I guess that about wraps up our conversation on Halloween 2018.
Yes, it does. I'm sorry. I wanted to like it.
I feel like you went in wanting to hate it.
Very true. No, I went in wanting to hate it because of what I've heard about it. But then when I saw the first scene, I literally wrote down, starts talking to dude, this might actually be good. So I kind of wanted to like it, but then I didn't like it. What can you do?
Right, well, that brings us to an end of Spooktober.
Whoa.
Um,
Yeah. hope people are listening to this on Halloween to get all spooked out.
Oh, don't get too scared.
Yeah. If you got scared, leave a subscribe and a like.
No, we're not doing that yet.
No, I'm just saying, just do that anyway.
But next week we'll be returning to
Normality.
Yeah, not scary stuff.
Unless I pick a scary.
Or you could just give... it doesn't really matter. But, Daniel, would you like to tell me and the lovely listeners what you've got planned for me next week?
Yeah. Just let me decide first. I had one in my head. I can't remember what it was. Because I wanted to...
You must have felt very passionately about it.
Why don't we do Can't Believe We Haven't Seen? Why don't we do the first joint one that we both haven't seen? We talked about that the other day. We said just do it when we feel like it.
Well, you said that.
You said, yeah, fuck the rules.
Okay.
Alright, Apocalypse Now then. We both haven't seen it.
Alright, that should be interesting.
Yeah, so that'll be next week.
Mark it on your calendars, everyone. Next week, Apocalypse Now.
Crazy.
If you've never seen it before, also watch it.
Yeah, because there'll be spoilers.
Yeah. Should we start saying that at the start? No.
I mean, it's implied.
It's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
I guess. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this episode, or the podcast as a whole, really, then leave us a like, a comment, a subscribe on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter at Can't Believe YHS. I'm sorry, would you like a go?
Yeah, I would actually.
Alright, you say...
Follow us on Twitter at Can't Believe
I already said that.
YHS. You cut that out though. Follow us on Twitter.
Just say the next thing.
Subscribe to our RSS feed. Put that in your local podcasting app to get access to the podcast.
That's all from me. I've been Daniel. We've both been Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.